Welcome to the Sports Report podcast with Ben, Ricky, and Jalen. We cover trending and popular topics surrounding the world of professional and on-campus sports. With each of us having a unique sports background, we give different perspectives and insight on the current climate of sports news. And now, here are your hosts.
Welcome back to the Sports Report pod. Class is in session. I'm Ben. I'm here with Jalen and Ricky, and we have a guest. We have Ren today. This is our second podcast on video. So there we go. And Ren, thanks for coming on today.
Of course.
We're going to start off with the West standings. They're very close right now. We're going to start with the play-in. We got the Lakers, the Kings, Pelicans, Warriors, and Suns can all move up still or move down. So we'll start with Ren, since this is your first time on.
All right.
What's your biggest takeaway with the play-in race still going on with just 2 or 3 games left in the year?
Me being a Lakers fan, I want to start off talking about them. Honestly, I think we're in a tough pickle. If we end up 9th seed, which is looking like that's going to be the case, I don't see us winning 2 straight games, only because I know how easy it is for our team to get demoralized and then stop with effort and communication on defense and stuff like that. So definitely worried about my team.
Yeah, no, I'm obviously covering the Lakers.
Yeah.
I agree it's going to be tough, especially they can drop to 10 and then 2 road games. I don't think we're winning back-to-back.
Nope.
It's tough. So they need the Kings either to lose 2 of their last 3, or the Pelicans to lose out to move up. And then they would be the 8th seed, so they'd be on the road against whoever finishes in 7th.
Right.
That's the best path, because if they win that game, then they're the 7th seed. They probably avoid Denver in the first round.
Right.
Jalen, I know you're a Kings fan.
Oh, man.
I know you're worried.
Yeah. Everything that Ren just said about the Lakers is what I have to say, except times a million. But the Kings have had a really tough schedule their past to finish out their season. That road trip where they had 4 games on the road, I think it was against did it start with Minnesota?
I'll pull it up right now.
Yeah, if you could pull that out, that'd be great.
Okay,
But
I got it.
It was an East road trip, actually. So
New York,
yeah, it was New York, then Boston,
Brooklyn, Oklahoma City.
Yeah. So going into that little road trip, I was like, okay, this is so close. Like it's especially because those are all contenders. I was like, they have to split 2 of 2, and then they finish out all at home, against contending teams still in the West. But it was key for them to get momentum and kind of salvage their road trip. And it was just a brutal road trip. They were up in the first half against New York, and then just fell apart in the second half and ended up losing that game. Lost by 1 to Boston in a great game. Beat Brooklyn, which was good. And then that pivotal last game of their road trip there against Oklahoma City, when they were up again too, just like that New York Knicks game by a lot, 28 or 9, 26 or something like that. But that's what I've been watching this the whole season, and it's like they look like one of the best teams in the league, at least offensively, in the first half. Second half comes, other team makes adjustments, and the rotations, especially with how banged up they are, in the second half, when they don't have Fox and Sabonis on the floor at the same time, they get exposed. Especially when they have leads and the other team's fired up, try to make a comeback and putting points on the board. They have a hard time with finding a set rotation to go in there and close out a game, which in a play-in scenario is the one thing that you want to be locked in on is closing out a close game at the end.
Yeah.
Which I do think they can do if they have Mike Brown and they have guys who that culture and that chemistry. They have really good chemistry. That's one thing I liked about just overall this whole season is they are playing they play hard, and I think they mesh well as a group. But just talent-wise and how they match up with, especially those teams like the Lakers and the Warriors and the Suns, I think it's gonna be tough for them, especially like you said, Ren, if they have to win 2 games in a row. It's gonna be hard. Yeah. It's hard for anyone who has to win 2 games in a row.
100%. Yeah. But the Kings, especially now, they're without Monk and Herter.
Yeah.
Monk might come back, but Herter's done for the year.
Scoring is a big problem for them.
Yeah, I feel like
especially
they just forced it out of Fox late in the game, and you could guard Sabonis one-on-one. He thrives as a passer.
For sure.
If you have a good big, you could guard him one-on-one. So
yeah, they struggle inside in the paint in the second half. Sabonis, when he's rolling vertically, is one of the scariest guys in the league.
Yeah.
But other than that, they have a hard time getting to the rim. They live and die by the three, and that's why they get cold.
And Barnes are too. They're just very streaky.
They shoot so much. Harrison Barnes and Keegan Murray take so many 3-pointers, and Keegan Murray is one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. I think he's only going to get better too, especially in that system.
Yeah, he's just still very young.
Yeah, it's just a big role that he's got to go.
He's been hit or
assume.
miss this year too.
Yeah, and I think that comes from now he's guarding the best player on the other team now.
That's true.
Mike Brown's asked him to step up on defense as a perimeter and interior defender because he's so long and he's so athletic.
He's 6'9".
Yeah, but he's done a really good job with it, emerging as like a premier perimeter defender for a team that just lacks defense all around. I think that's part of it too. Like, he's just had to step up into this huge role in so quick of a turnaround in his career.
What do you think the setback was or is like this year compared to last year?
I think part of it is just their overall how teams look at them. I think that's a small part of it. After last year, they exceeded expectations and made the playoffs for the first time in I don't know how many years. After ending that drought, but now they bring the same core back and they get better in the offseason. It's like other teams in the West looking at the Kings not going, oh, this is kind of a back end team that we can take off.
Right.
They're like, no, this is a contender. And they're getting other teams' A games every game, which is makes it so that you got to play 4 quarters of basketball, and when they don't do that, they lose, which it's gonna happen.
Tough.
Yeah, and the West got a lot better this year too.
That too.
Overall, just looking at the standings, you could see it.
Yeah, just a mix of everything.
Left.
They were definitely they benefited from circumstance last year, and now, if they're neutral in a certain category, the ball's not going to bounce their way because of, a lot of stuff went right the year before. Usually the next year after that, it kind of, you get a little bit more regression to the mean. I just think that's, playing a factor too. But their personnel is the best, we've seen in maybe this century, going back to, when they were making the finals and playoffs runs back in the early 2000s. So they definitely have they got the talent, but they just need to put it together. And it comes down to clutch gene too.
Fox has it for sure.
Fox definitely has it.
But anyone else? Need someone else to step up. Harrison Barnes could have won you the series.
Yeah,
last year.
we saw it last year.
If you win that game, you win the series.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No question. Not Oracle. In Chase, suck all the momentum out. Bang.
Go back home.
Yeah.
Closing out.
And then who knows what happens after that? Once you get a taste of winning a round.
Next round.
Yeah. And we all know Sabonis' record against
Okay.
No, but I can't use that card too much because if we ended up matching up in the play-in,
this is gonna be so fun.
I'm kind of nervous.
What are your takeaways, Ricky?
I'm liking it right now. I'm anticipating these next couple of games to be very gritty, very serious for these teams.
It's pretty much playoffs for
right now.
Right now, I'm kind of getting scared of the Suns. They've been getting exposed the past couple games.
The Clippers game was horrible.
Yeah. Russ was playing out of his mind, but the Suns are being weird. I don't know what's going on.
33-4 at one point.
Yeah.
Are they all healthy?
They're healthy.
They're all healthy
the
and they all play.
Healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I seen highlights the other day, and they don't really have a big man. They're running Bobo a lot, which is kind of, just defensively, because they're already not really a defensive team. They're super heavy offensive. So that was kind of scary. And if they have to play, one of these teams that have a big man and that are just big in general, like the Lakers, Kings, Pelicans, and it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for them
for sure.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know, the play-in is gonna be rocking for sure.
The Suns have stretches where on defense it just looks like no one knows what's going on, and it's like pickup at LA Fitness. They have a possession and they go back and they kind of just wait until it's their turn to go down on the other end.
Yeah, it's almost like they're relying on one of the three to get hot.
Yeah.
To get 40.
No, look at the Clippers game. No one had their shot going.
Right.
And they couldn't do anything. Their defense was horrible. No one else was stepping up. It was just ISO ball, and no one could hit a shot.
Yeah, you gotta have ways to win. That's why these top seeds, with the Nuggets and the Celtics, they have so many ways to win. It's
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. So we'll move on from the play-in. We'll go towards the top of the West now. We got the Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Thunder all within a game right now. Who do you think's going to win the West? We're going to start with Jalen.
It's hard to pick against the Nuggets, right?
Only a few games left, too.
Yeah.
And they have the lead.
They, I believe they have, like we were talking about off air a little bit, I believe they have a couple of tiebreakers with some of the other top teams. But they have just so much playoff experience, and they know how to win. They got that formula down. I think they'll close out.
Their schedule's
top.
probably the easiest left, too. They have Spurs and Grizzlies.
Gotcha. Yeah, two
they're
teams who,
they're one seed.
yeah, once it gets to the back end of the season, they just want to go to a tropical island.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they're poised. They've been here before. They'll close it out.
Ren, what do you think?
I also agree. I feel like the Nuggets will definitely take the cake. You play the Memphis Grizzlies, who have nothing to play for essentially, and the Spurs as well. So I definitely don't think they play Wemby any type of heavy minutes in his last two games. For the future, of course. So it's all about draft picks for them now, the lottery and everything like that. So I definitely have the Nuggets taking it.
Yeah, the Nuggets are 1 seed for sure. Unless they just drop it for some reason. I don't know, for a better matchup. Right.
I don't think they will because
Yeah.
they don't know what the matchup's going to be.
Right, so
that's what
no.
I'm saying. I don't know.
Yeah, and they want home court too. It's so hard to go over in altitude
Mm-hmm.
in a 7-game series, knowing that you might have to play 4 games over in Mile High. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever spent a bunch of time up at altitude, but it's like
It's a whole different experience.
crazy. Like
Horrible.
the first second you breathe that air once you land on the plane, like you could tell that, oh my god, like my body's not getting oxygen
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage for them. And Jokic had to learn to play in that altitude. He was getting so tired at the end of the games when his first couple of seasons, and he's kind of unlocked that ability to, be strong throughout the whole 48 minutes if he's got to play it.
For sure.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, NFL teams, if they're going to play the Broncos,
Yeah.
they go early in the week so
Mhm.
they could get used to it.
Yeah.
But in the NBA, you can't do that because you only have 2 games between, or 2 days between your playoff
Yeah.
games.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it should be easy for them. They should lock it up. But Minnesota's gonna have Cat back tomorrow. Do you think Minnesota could go on a run?
Honestly, I do think Minnesota can go on a run just because of that their defense when they're all healthy and when they're all playing to the best of, if they're all executing and all playing as a team, that defense in the middle is so just tough to game plan against. And if your roster matches up bad against them, that's already you're at a disadvantage and you have to play your best game to, make it close. Teams that are so strong that other teams have to play their best game just to keep it close. It's so hard to match up against teams like that because even if they don't have their best game, they still find ways to pull it out in the end. So, and I think Ant, we were talking about clutch factor a little bit off air. Ant has that it factor where he wants the ball down the stretch and he can just go make a play when it comes down to it. When in the playoffs, you need a guy like that, even if you have a good system. And I think he can be that guy on a stage. He's shown it before, and I think we're going to see it.
For sure.
Yeah, I think you could make a case that Minnesota might be the best matchup against Denver, defensively. As far as they could go big. They have depth as well, just like Denver. But yeah, as you said, it's hard to play the teams that you're kind of matching up to be close at the end of the game, So it's difficult, but I definitely do see the Timberwolves making a run. They could beat anybody, and they showed it when Cat was out with Anthony Edwards and the rest of the players on the team playing at the level they've been playing when he was out.
What do you think, Ren?
For sure. I think the X factor here is Naz Reid. I mean, he's 6'9". He can play as a wing. He does play as a wing, and it's just hard to guard that. And he's shooting, I think, near 40%, or he might be shooting 40%. It's just going to be hard to guard that. They're going to need to play Aaron Gordon a lot more minutes, probably, against him. So, yeah.
I think the biggest concern for me is Cat in the playoffs has been hit or miss, and he's just coming back from an injury. So I don't know how much of a factor that's going to be because, like you said, Anthony Edwards, he's going to be clutch. So, can they bench Cat and go Naz Reid and be fine with that
I think
down the stretch?
the way Naz Reid's been playing is going to kind of – it might subtract minus it out or balance it out in a sense because he's been scoring pretty well.
Yeah.
And just Cat coming back, his production's gonna slowly, increase as the playoffs go. And the way that Nasri's playing right now, it's perfect for Cat in this situation. I think.
Yeah, a little bit more net. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Do you think that Cat would be fine being benched though? Like,
oh no, he's probably not. He doesn't have to be benched.
I'm not saying like to start the game, but to close the game. Like if he's cold and Nasri's on fire, because he's a star player.
It just depends in the situation. I mean, if they're, I don't think Cat's gonna be like that out of it. I feel like he's gonna,
You never know. For a player.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
For sure.
But I mean, if Nas is on a heater, then you can't pull him out, I guess,
Yeah.
If they're
No,
playing
that's
good.
just my main concern because, like, I remember a few years ago, he was, like, having games where he was, like, 1 for 7 or, like, and fouling out early, too. Like, he would get 6 fouls within, like, 20 minutes. And
yeah, I think that was the
big
biggest problem for him is the fouling. Yeah, but I think he fixed that in a way. I mean, he learned. I think he learned.
Well, we'll see.
Hopefully.
Sure.
And then the Thunder, the other team, still up for the 1 seed.
So many teams.
This is going to be their first
crazy.
time, like, with the actual playoffs with their young core.
Yep.
Last year, they were in the play-in but did not make it. So we got Shea, we got Chet, Jalen Williams. This is the first taste of real playoff minutes. What do you expect from them?
I think in terms of the spot and historical trends when it comes to teams like that who are super young and like this is their first playoff push, it's might not favor them as, it's not going to favor them as a young team. Going in and playing, they're going to have to play the same team potentially 7 times in a row. I know I harp about that all the time on this podcast, like how different everything is when you have to play the same team 7 times. So much different than the regular season when it's just like about staying fresh and like making sure you're at the top of your game and putting out the best performance you can put out every night on the court. Now it's like, I have to really not only execute on the court, but I have to like stick to this game plan that the coach has put out for us to go beat this other team that we're matching up against. And for a young team, I think it's hard for them to not get out adjusted by an older, more savvy team. But Shea's the truth. Like he alone can erase deficits and make sure you're in the game all the way up to the end. I'm just excited to see how they close out games late against potentially one of these teams who is going to make it out of the play-in. I think that's going to be their biggest X factor is like, can they hold a lead mid to early fourth quarter and turn those into wins? That's going to be their biggest, I think their biggest unknown and their biggest key.
For sure.
Ren, what do you think?
Definitely agree with Jalen right here. I feel like more experienced, or I think LeBron and JJ Redick's podcast, they said it's more about the IQ than experience in playoffs. I could definitely see a team like Phoenix with KD and Beal and Book just beating them in a 7-game series. I don't think that they're ready for something like that. But if they were to play like, I don't know, I think the Kings would be the best matchup for them to play out of the winners of the play-in, everything. So, sorry, Jalen.
I agree. I think those top teams are looking like, man, I hope Sacramento gets cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when I think of Minnesota this year and OKC this year, I'm thinking of Sacramento last year and the Grizzlies last year, how they're the top seeds. I think Minnesota and OKC are stronger and smarter than the Grizzlies from last year. And Sacramento just a little bit. I know they played pretty well, but it just they were playing against the Warriors, like one of the, it was tough.
Yeah.
But I think the play-in that OKC and Minnesota did last year, I think that helped them a lot.
Yeah,
and I think it's gonna translate better.
I didn't even think
them going into the playoffs. I see that. I see the play-in really helping them, because Memphis, they just, right off the bat, they had to play a good team, a veteran team, and they didn't really know the playoffs had any I don't know the word right now.
They got cooked.
They got cooked. So.
Josh said he was fine in the West, though.
He wasn't.
Where is he now?
Yeah,
Dylan Brooks was saying it. Dylan Brooks was talking so much shit to LeBron too.
Dylan Brooks.
Yeah. And just it didn't go well for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. The play-in definitely should help their experience level.
That was a good point, because that play-in last year, that the Thunder, they played the Pelicans in New Orleans. So like you said, they have a little bit of road experience. And I remember watching that game, like it was chippy, super physical.
Right.
And like those young guys on OKC were getting fired up. And like you said, they ended up losing that game, but it was good for them to go through that.
Yeah, and the only one that hasn't really played is Chet, because Chet was obviously hurt last year. But yeah, Shea should be good to go. That should be a good series of whoever they play. It might even be New Orleans. Right now it would be New Orleans, so it would be a rematch of that.
Ooh.
And then it could be the Suns.
Is there any update on Brandon Ingram?
I've known he's been out, but I haven't seen anything like that he's coming back. I'll look right now.
Yeah, they need him.
CJ McCollum's been playing pretty good.
Well, I looked that up. What do you think about the Clippers-Mavs series?
That's going to be a old-fashioned little Western shootout, I think.
For sure.
There's going to be I think it's going to be one of those series that, like, we're going to tune into the games, and it's going to be like, oh, this team is up by 30 right now?
Yeah.
And then the next game, it's going to be, now the other team's up by 30. It's going to be I think it's going to be one of those series.
I can definitely see that.
They match up so, like, they're similar teams in some ways, obviously with similar records. And I think whenever you get like two teams like that match up, it's always like fireworks and explosions and big runs. But Dallas is playing such good basketball right now. I believe they're maybe 16-2, 17-2 in their last 18 or 19 games. And what's crazy to me is they're on that crazy streak, and they're still they're the 5 seed, which just goes to speak about how many good teams there are in the Western Conference and how much the whole 82-game season matters. You know, like the first game of the year matters just as much as the 42nd or the 81st.
Right.
And we're seeing that now with how the seeding's playing out. And but yeah, Luka and Kyrie in the playoffs. Kyrie's been playing super well. Luka, we get another chance to see him on the big stage, and he's been there so much. I'm excited to see them.
Yeah, so Ingram, by the way, he could return for the final 2 games. He's out tonight. And
That's
then
big for them. They need him.
I think the Mavs Clippers series is what I'm looking forward to most.
Definitely.
Because they've matched up before.
Yeah.
And Luka now has Kyrie with him and a good bench, too. This is the most even it's going to be. And Luka's been dominant against them, almost stealing the series.
For sure.
Just by himself. Now he's got Kyrie with him. Kyrie's one of the most clutch players in the NBA.
And Gafford fit right in.
That's what I was about to
Gafford's
talk
great.
about.
When
PJ Washington.
Going back to our trade deadline episode, that whole episode was us just talking about how the Mavericks probably won the deadline, and we're seeing it now, how it played off. One of the biggest turnarounds out of any team in the league from the first half to the second half, and a lot of it is based off their acquisitions.
It's like the Lakers last year.
Yes,
Right.
totally.
Yeah.
After picking up Rui and a couple other guys.
Yep, D'Lo.
So good.
Yeah, that was crazy.
How do you guys think they're gonna play James Harden? Because the Mavs are gonna make him defend, and I'm trying to figure out how they're like what positions would they put him in? Because
The Clippers?
yeah,
On the defensive end?
I'm trying to figure out. I feel like Russ would be playing a lot more. I think.
Yeah.
In that series.
Oh, that's tough. Who are the Mavs starting at small forward right now?
Isn't it PJ? Maybe.
I think he might be at the 4. I'll look right now.
Josh Green definitely.
Either
doesn't
way,
get
he's gonna
minutes.
have to play a 3. Or
That's
he's gonna
what
have
I'm
to
saying.
guard a
I
3.
think he'll be Derrick Jones Jr.
Oh.
They'll put him on him because Derrick Jones Jr. He could attack the rim. He's a lob threat.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's not going to be like shooting lights out.
They won't take him
And they'll put Paul George and Kawhi on Luka and Kyrie.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's gonna be
God.
Who does Russ guard?
Russ is off the
Off
bench.
bench.
Oh,
Yeah.
off the bench.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a good problem to have for not problem, but that's a good thing to have for the Clippers is being able to rotate guys on, because they're gonna have to. Like when stars have one guy that's assigned to them for the whole game, by the third, fourth quarter, it's over. No matter how good of a defender you are, especially if you're a two-way guy like how Kawhi and PG are gonna be taking shots up at the offensive end. Oh, it's gonna be grueling, and they're gonna be so tired at the end of the game. Whoever has to guard Luka or Kyrie.
Terrence Mann
it's
will
good for
probably
them.
get some minutes
Terrence
on him.
Mann. Yeah.
So they're starting him, so they'll probably keep Kawhi on a bigger player.
Yeah, which is good. That's good
Yeah.
for them to be able to switch and switch matchups throughout the game, keep guys fresh.
Yeah, that'll be
For sure.
that's gonna be such a good
Vice
series.
versa though, Luka and Kyrie's gonna have to guard up too.
Yes, exactly. And we've seen
They'll probably put Luka on Terrence Mann, Kyrie on Harden.
Mm.
Because I think Kyrie knows him more.
Yeah,
because
for
he's
sure.
been teammates with him.
Yeah.
Wow, what an intriguing
It's gonna be
matchup.
so
It's
good.
gonna be so back and forth too. It's gonna
Yeah.
be about adjustments.
Bucket getters.
And then Derrick Jones Jr. and P.J. Washington on Paul George and Kawhi.
That's gonna be fireworks.
Yeah. I might get off. I think one of them might get off though.
Who do you guys lean to early in that series? So many unknowns, but
The way the Mavs are playing right now, I have the Mavs taking at least the first. I think the first game they'll take the first game. The second game's gonna be like it's tough. I can't even judge.
yeah, so up in the air, right?
I think I'd pick the Mavs to win the
How-
series,
how-
but it would probably
Ooh.
7 games.
Yeah, how can you not lead towards them with how hot they're playing, and
Yeah.
if they just take this play into the playoffs? Like,
The
they can roll
problem for
anybody.
me is Harden in the playoffs is really hit or miss.
Yeah.
And then Paul George has kind of been the same. Like, the last few years he's been better, but it's tough. And then Kawhi right now, he's been hurt the last few games. And I feel like that's every playoffs. That he'll get
Every
hurt,
single time.
like, right before, and then he'll play a game and it'll re-aggravate and get worse. Like, last year, that's what happened
Yep.
against the Suns.
Right.
He played, like, 2 really good games, got hurt, and was done for the series. So, just because of the injury concerns and just because I don't know what Harden's going to do, I got to lean Mavs, but it'll be really close.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be glued to my screen.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
that's-
sure.
I can't wait.
That's the best matchup of the first round, in my opinion. Like, we
I
don't even
agree.
know who's going to be, like, out of the play-in, but
I
Yeah,
agree.
it's crazy. Like, once the play-in is over and we're gonna have these 8 teams and we're gonna have 4 matchups. Like, I can't believe that 4 of those teams are gonna have to go home. Like,
It's
it's
crazy.
unreal.
Yeah.
And if you flip flop the matchups, maybe it's like completely different teams. Like, that's
Mhm.
why, like, the regular season is so big.
Darvin Ham, man. We could be a top, like, 4 seed right now.
Yeah. He only picked it up after you went on that rant.
I know.
He was like, all
I
right,
know.
we have to.
Yeah.
No more
I was
turns.
getting ready to take over his job.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
getting heat, guys, from these colleges. We need to we need to start stepping it up.
So I saw this today. So he benched Austin Reeves 2 weeks into the season for like a pretty long stretch. Benched D'Lo for some time in December. Started Taurean Prince for 51 games.
Horrible.
Started Cam Reddish for 26 games. And didn't start Rui Hachimura till February.
Yeah.
And since they've started Rui,
Sounds
and
like
they've
Coach of
gone,
the Year
they've
to
gone
me.
D'Lo, Reeves.
I think he does this on purpose so they could win in the play-in
Play-in?
and then go to
Yeah.
the Western Conference Finals and be like, I'm able, I could do that.
And then he doesn't get fired.
Yeah.
That's the only
Yeah.
explanation with the players still having a great relationship with him. That's the only reason I can see that.
It's crazy.
It
That's
has to be
funny.
Something going
They've
on.
had like the 3rd best record in the league though since starting Rui with
Yeah.
D'Lo, Reeves, LeBron, and AD.
Yeah. we playing
Yeah,
really
no doubt the Lakers are
Like a full season of
championship
that.
caliber.
A full
Oh, yeah.
season of that, they're like a top 5 seed for sure.
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
So when y'all play the Nuggets though, like what's going on?
We need
What's y'all
Vando.
playing?
I'm
We
telling you
need
now.
Vando to come
If
back.
Vando's
What's y'all
not playing, I don't think we're winning the series.
Yeah.
we
me
don't
either.
have a chance. Like Gabe's been really good as an on-ball defender since coming back, but
He
we
needs
need
to stop
someone
shooting.
else.
Yeah,
He
that
needs to stop
size
shooting.
was what made them so scary as a matchup last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's why they did so well against the Grizzlies.
Mhm.
Just eliminated Jared Jackson Jr. and overall just like crowded the paint.
Mhm.
Vando on the perimeter and on the inside is what got them past Golden State. So overall, yeah. Oh my God, he's such a big
Sure.
part of what makes them good. And
For sure.
We need him.
I mean, every
100%.
team needs to be like full weapons, like all
Mhm.
hands on deck, but especially the Lakers.
Yeah,
For sure.
we don't really have like a great backup center that I'm gonna be like, okay, he could guard Jokic for a
Colin
few minutes.
Castleton.
Yeah, Hayes.
Yeah, we got Jackson Hayes, Colin Castleton,
Harry Giles, I guess.
Harry Giles.
Oh,
yeah.
Harry Giles. Wow, that's a name.
Yeah, I know you know about him.
Yeah,
Kings
Kings
fan.
legend,
Yeah.
Harry Giles.
He was supposed to be so good
Yeah.
coming out
Yeah.
of high school.
2013.
I was excited about that pickup.
Yeah, no, but it's gonna be tough. That's why we need more size, like you said. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vando coming back will be huge.
For sure.
But I don't know if he's gonna be back for the first round. That's why I want to try
I
and
don't think so.
avoid, like if we can, we win the play-in, but we avoid Denver.
That'd be amazing.
Then that's ideal because then even if we have to face him later on, we'll have Vando back by
Mhm.
then. It's gonna be tough. We're gonna shift to the Eastern Conference now.
Ooh.
Start with the Celtics, who are by far the best team in the conference.
Mm.
But are they frauds? Because we've seen them in some games against good teams play horrible. So we'll start with Ren because we kind of talked about this last week.
Mhm. I don't know. Me personally, I think this team went to the finals against the Warriors, and they were inexperienced. But now you add Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. I don't see how they lose to a single team in a series in the East. Me personally.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
they shouldn't.
Yeah, they really shouldn't. You don't want to see. You're looking pretty convincing. Philly has their issues with Embiid barely just coming back. The Knicks without Randall. I really don't see what team could possibly give them a run for their money in the East.
Ricky, what do you think?
I mean, I think that they shouldn't lose to any team, but I think they could definitely lose.
Yeah.
They annoy me. The whole team, the whole organization annoys me. When they win and they win for a long period of time, I'm like, okay, like they're getting it going. I believe them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's that one game they up by 30 and they just blow everything.
Yeah.
All my hopes are in the toilet, garbage, all that. Like,
They're like the
I'm just
Bucks
like, what's going on? Like,
2021.
and then I watched the game. I'm like, okay, why are they losing by this much?
Yeah.
It seems like once the opponent maintains a lead for a certain amount of time, it's just like, all right, we're just not playing no more. And
yeah,
then,
no, they don't have any fight.
yeah, like they have. It seems like the air is just sucked out of them completely,
Right.
and it's just
It's like
I don't get it.
they're too good of a team to where if they start losing, they're just like, oh,
yeah, they
we
just
can't
put
do
their
it.
bench in. And
Yeah.
like
Right.
I'm like, okay, I understand you guys are down by a lot, but I need to see fight, like something to, you know.
That's
It's
what scares
nothing.
me about them. Yeah, I agree. Jalen, what do you think?
Yeah, retweet to everything you guys just said, but I'm kind of more with you, Ren. Like I really don't think like any team can beat them in a 7-game series, but because they'll have time to bounce back and be able to adjust days in between their games to be able to, build off of and hammer out whatever kinks they had in a game before if they do end up losing it, dropping a game in a 7-game series.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were to get to the finals, it's just the West is so stacked, and whoever's gonna get there in the West is gonna have momentum, obviously, because they beat everybody else. It's hard for me to say anything because of that. Like you just don't know with them. It's a flip of a coin for what team you're gonna get. So yeah, I don't know.
Tough.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting. Tatum for me has to show he could be good throughout the whole playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Because he'll have games like I said last year in off air, game 7 he had 50, but then like he's had games where he has like 10 and he's shooting like 4 for 17.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to prove to me that he could be the number one guy the whole playoffs. Because if he's not, then I could see them definitely like they get down in a game and then they go like the Bucks are gonna be good. Hopefully, we'll see what Doc cooks up for them.
Yeah,
they've also kind of.
It's almost like they're in like.
And Giannis is hurt now too.
Yeah. Like Bucks are kind of like everything we're saying right now about Boston. Like
it's the
we
same.
could
It's the
say
same
about
with the Bucks. It's
Milwaukee.
even worse.
Yeah.
We don't
All
need
the
to
East,
do
to be
their own.
honest.
They don't need their own segment.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
just do everything we just said here. Just change the name of the team and.
There you go.
Do you guys think Jason Tatum has to win a ring to win an MVP?
I think so.
He
for him to be
shouldn't have
respected.
to, but I think the way the media looks at him, he will.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Like you shouldn't have to win a ring to be considered for MVP, but that's just kind of the media's portrayal of him right now. Is he can't win in the playoffs, so in the regular season they kind of ignore him.
For sure.
I think with the candidates for MVP
This year he shouldn't win it for
yeah,
sure.
definitely. And we'll get into that a little bit after this segment, but when I take a look at overall just the talent and specifically the numbers that like individual guys are putting up, Tatum is scoring. He can score at whatever level he chooses to be. He's just that talented. But he doesn't have that assist or rebounding factor. He rebounds really well, and his passing has gotten light years better since when he came into the league. But just his numbers and the way they use him, just primarily as a scorer from the wing, like he has to really have like a crazy like 30+ points per game season for him to be, like you said, favorite in the media above a Jokic or a Shea or a Luka who's gonna put up, or a Giannis who's gonna be 30+ points plus double figures in assists or rebounding. Even Sabonis averaging damn near triple double. So yeah, that kind of scoring aspect is kind of the only pull when he's going for a season award, I think, which makes it tough to hand it to a guy who's scoring, but doesn't have all the crazy like inflated stats like some of these other guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be tough. I don't know if he'll ever win an MVP with just how like so many more
Yeah.
players, like you said,
Right.
have all-around stats.
I don't
Like,
see it.
He's gonna have to evolve his game somehow.
yeah, he's
But
got to become a better he has become a better passer, but he's got to if he's up to 7 assists, then he'll be more in consideration.
But at the same time, it's like they don't really want to change because they're the best team in
Oh,
the league.
100%.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's
they-
like
Right.
he's kind of just in the position where like
Yeah, no, he's in a
Alright.
position where they should be winning titles now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But we'll see.
He's an MVP caliber player
For sure.
playing in a win-win-win
Mhm.
yeah, I mean,
environment.
they have
which
4 All-Stars on their team.
Yeah, there's only so much you could do. His production on that system is probably just plateaued. The most you're going to see from him is 26, 27 points per game each season,
yeah.
as long as they keep their team the way it is. So
It would have to be like a 70-win season. I think,
yeah,
Right.
with what the numbers he puts
Yeah.
up. Shifting gears now, we're going to go to the New York Knicks, who have a chance to rise to the 2 seed, and that's more possible now that Giannis is out, so the Bucks could drop. What's been your main takeaway from the Knicks so far this season, Jalen?
Their ability to get production from different guys at different times. I know on this podcast we're big fans of Jalen Brunson. I am. I love Jalen Brunson. We talk
One of
about
my
him.
favorite players in the
We
league
talk
right
about
now.
him so much. I feel like if someone wants to go back and look at every episode and do a little drinking game and have many times to talk about him. Anyway, but Tibbs, he's done a great job, and I
Great
remember
coach.
there was a time when he was kind of like a joke around the league
Yeah.
about how much he plays his guys and how he can
Yeah.
never get stuff done in the playoffs because his stars are always hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Reuniting that Villanova crew, and DiVincenzo has been playing really, really well. I didn't expect him first to get paid that much
Mhm.
after his tenure with Golden State, and I also didn't expect him to be this good
Mm-hmm.
in his role.
He's been really good.
He's shot so well from downtown this year, which has been big for the Knicks. And Brunson's still doing what he's doing. But
improved
yeah.
as a shooter too.
Yep. Getting more versatile, which is crazy. But the lack of Randall going into the playoffs is definitely going to hurt them just overall with guys having not as many guys who can go score the ball.
Right.
But I think, and OG too, I'm not sure what his timeline is, but he's playing so well for them when they first picked him up.
Yeah.
He's come back, I think.
Yeah, he just came back.
Yeah.
Like he had 2 or 3 games since his injury.
That's
so,
good.
Yeah.
They need him.
Yeah.
He's their best defender.
Yeah, they
on the
need him.
perimeter.
Easily.
He makes them such a they're so much different of a team when he's on the floor. He can score the ball too.
Mm-hmm.
I think teams in the East, not coming out of the play-in, but like at lower seeds in the East in the standings, that's the team you're kind of like, whoa.
I think they
Nobody
could
wants
make
to
conference finals
For
even
sure.
without Randall.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
looking.
can.
Yeah, I agree. With the experience last year, they took that series against the Cavs.
And lost to Miami.
Yeah, but like Ricky said earlier, with those teams in the West, it was a good experience for them, especially for Brunson to go through a playoff run with him being the primary scorer.
He played well.
Really well. So I only expect them to kind of build off, and when they're healthy, they're a nightmare to deal with for anybody in a 7-game series.
Right.
So I think if they make it there to the point when they're matching up against the Bucks or the Celtics later in the final or later in the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
that will be a fun series.
Yeah,
For sure.
Ren, what do you think?
Completely agree. I do wish that they have more production with Bohong though. Lately he just hasn't been himself, or I don't know if it's because he has more people to share the ball with, but like he's normally like a 25, 5 and like 3 assists kind of guy, or he'll just play point forward. And he just looks like a shell of himself to me personally recently. So I just wish for more of that for him in the playoffs, especially with Randall out. They're gonna need scoring. So yeah.
Yeah, no, he's been disappointing for sure since the trade.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the last added piece
Yeah.
to their team,
Yeah,
and he's been disappointing for sure. But maybe in the playoffs he'll step up.
for sure.
Ricky, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
The Knicks been playing very good basketball. Unfortunately, Julius Randle got injured, and I think if he was healthy, they would have been like up there with the Boston tier,
Mhm.
type of teams.
Mhm.
I honestly think that they're solid
I
as a
agree.
whole, just like Boston. I think that series will be good if somehow that happens later on.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think they're definitely one of the most solid teams in the East. DiVincenzo won me some money the other day, so
There you go.
that's my guy right there. Shout out DiVincenzo. Shout out OG Anunoby.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson, he's a killer. They're all that's a good solid team
Over
right
21, by the way,
there.
everyone.
Yeah, over 21. Nah, but yeah, they're good. And you know how Thibodeau plays 40 all their players 40 minutes. McBride's been playing actually pretty good too.
Josh
He's
Hart's
been playing a lot of
killing
minutes.
it.
Josh Hart.
Josh.
Yeah.
They
He
got
stepped
some
up
guys.
as a scorer, which surprised
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
They're really good. They're really good defensive team, and yeah, they've been playing really good on offense. DiVincenzo's been scoring very well, and Brunson's gonna get his. So
Yeah.
it's looking good for New York.
Now, I know you're worried about Boston more so than others. So do you think New York, even without Randall, poses a threat to them?
I would take Boston in that series. New York's strong. I just feel like with the addition of Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday, they're just a step over the Knicks. And just Julius Randle being out is just hard. But if Julius Randle was playing, I think it would be game 7 series. It would be a tight series. But
For sure.
since he's out, it's tough. I mean,
for sure.
if Boston's supposed to play how they're supposed to play,
That's
if
the
their
thing.
record,
That's
you
what
know,
I mean.
because
That's
it
what
looks
I'm
good on
asking you.
paper, but I don't know.
They're
We're
gonna
gonna
have
have to see. We're gonna have to see.
They're gonna have to rely on Mitchell Robinson a lot more than expected. He needs to be in the gym working on his free throw because I already know they're gonna attack him in foul trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Him and Hartenstein will get a lot of minutes.
Hartenstein's been playing well.
Yeah,
He was a good
Hartenstein's
skater.
a really
for the
good
years.
Really good.
Yeah, he
Underrated.
surprised me.
Yeah.
We'll shift now to two other teams in the East that have a chance to make a big run. They've got some star players, and the Heat have gone in the past. And then the Sixers, Embiid just came back. Him and Tyrese Maxey have looked really good. We'll start with Ren. What do you think about the Heat and the Sixers' chances to upset a team in the first round?
Obviously you can never count Jimmy Buckets out. I'm a little worried about Philly though, just because of the first few games I've seen Embiid come back. Like, of course he's scoring the ball, he's gonna score the ball, but as far as engagement, like he'll get his buckets, and then on defense, like he'll just sit. And I don't know, he just looks kind of sluggish. I know that's expected though. He's just getting back into rhythm. But yeah, I definitely think more Miami than Philly could upset a lot of teams, for sure.
What do you think, Jalen?
Yeah, I was kind of looking at the bottom five-ish of the seeding in the East. In the context of our last talking point, which was the Celtics, I wanted to ask you guys, like, who do you think out of teams kind of seeded at like from 6 through 10, like, who do you think matches up? I mean, obviously nobody matches up well against Boston; they're so stacked. But who do you guys think like poses the biggest threat to Boston upset wise, or Milwaukee, or even Milwaukee, like teams like that?
I would say the Sixers, just off how Joel Embiid plays.
Yeah, they're ceiling.
Nobody's guarding him, either team. Even the Bucks, if Giannis is healthy, I guess.
Giannis and Brook.
Yeah,
It's probably
but
the best way to guard him.
the last game that I seen Joel Embiid play, just how he was scoring so effortlessly, I think it was against the Grizzlies. So I mean, it is the Grizzlies,
And
but
they already got half their roster.
and half their
too.
roster is just is just done. The way he was still scoring, it was like, and it's hard to guard Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid off their actions, especially the passing catch, pick and roll actions. All that is difficult because how fast Tyrese Maxey is with the ball and without the ball, and it's I think they're a really hard matchup for any team, especially in the East. But if the Sixers and the Bucks play the first series, I think I might take the Sixers, to be honest.
And Giannis might be. We don't know if he's going to be there for game 1 either.
Yeah, that's what.
So that'll definitely be a factor for sure.
Wide open this year.
As far as against
Yeah,
the
for sure.
Celtics, I think the Heat.
Yeah.
Just because they've done it before. They did it last year.
Mm-hmm.
I know they added Drew and Kristaps, and that's definitely, like, I would pick the Celtics to win the series, but Jimmy Butler, like you said, you can't count him out. And then the playoffs, it feels like all their role players just like step up so much. Like Gabe Vincent, he was great last year. The Lakers signed him to be that guy. He has not been playing well on offense at all.
Maybe he'll come back in the playoffs like he did.
We gotta hope. That's what the Lakers need right now.
Do you think the Heat losing all them players? Do you think we might see a change this year? Like, do you think they still have it in them to make that run?
I think they still can because they also added Terry Rozier, who I feel like's the most talented of the point guards they've had recently.
Yeah.
And Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. I mean, those are shooters, and they could get hot in a game, hit 6 threes. They've shown it time and time again. So
They got Bam.
Bam's lockdown defender.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's tough.
I forgot they had Terry Rozier. That makes everything
Me
Yeah.
more scary.
I was like,
That's just crazy.
they're pretty good.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's the playoffs this year is going to be so good.
And
Both
Bam
conferences.
is crazy. Like some
Yeah.
games, he looks like a tier 1 caliber center.
Yes, easily.
And on defense, he's just locked down.
On
every
defense,
game.
it's kind of like, for me, he's kind of like a worse version of AD
Mhm.
because Bam on defense is always good. AD on defense is always good.
right.
On offense, AD is more consistent this year for
sure.
But Bam and AD kind of do that same thing where they could have a game where they only have like 10 points, they shoot pretty bad, and then the next game they're scoring like 35
Yeah.
with like 20
Streaky
rebounds.
guys.
So it's like you don't know what you're getting on some nights, especially in the playoffs when it's like back to back. Like last year, AD was like one game on offense he'd be really good, the next game he'd be really bad.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I see with Bam too, and I don't know, but Jimmy is just good all the time in the playoffs. So I feel like they'd have a shot against Boston, but
I can see it.
Y'all think the Hawks can make a little push, or y'all just count them out? It's just nah.
I don't know. They'd have to win 2
Nah.
games in the play-in is the
Yeah.
thing,
Nah.
and right now it's 2 on the road. I don't think they're beating Philly or Miami. I think they'll beat the Bulls,
I
but
can see it.
I don't know. I mean, Trae Young, if he's back for sure, then they have a slight shot. But
The Bulls and the Hawks make the play.
that
That'd be wild.
That would be
Nah.
crazy.
Such a different like playing environment from the West and the East.
Yeah. It's not easy.
We got bottom feeders in the East. Like, wait, these guys are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the West, it's like the greatest players in the history of basketball battling for.
It's like direct
Two
TV versus
spots.
cable,
It's crazy.
regular cable. DirecTV.
No, it's gonna be so good. By the way, I know we talked about Brandon Ingram earlier. He's expected to return Sunday against the Lakers.
Of
That's
course.
good.
And
Oh,
I know
guess
you were
not
gonna
for
know
y'all.
that. Every good player returns against the Lakers. Like that's
Oh
the
my
one
gosh.
game they return.
That's
There's
facts.
like
Game.
someone has a list this season. We'll try and find it right now. But
Every
it's like
time.
every star player, like they'll be out for a few weeks, and then when they see the Lakers on the schedule, that's the game they return. And then
That's
they
so
might sit
bad.
out the next game.
Curry literally sat out the game before the game we just played and lost. Curry literally sat out that game just so he could rest up for us. I know R.J. Barrett did it
Yep.
on the Raptors when he got hurt. There's so many people that
And
just do that.
he hadn't played like multiple games before that.
Right.
Played the Lakers, and then he sat out the next game.
Right. Like.
Wait, but why'd y'all let Draymond go 5 for 5?
Okay.
That's what I'm kind of confused about. I was kind of lost when I
That was
heard
their
that.
coverage. They were just like, we'll let him shoot.
I mean, I don't blame him. Like starting off the game, leaving Draymond open. But
Yeah,
like,
no, I
you
don't.
gotta
That's
start.
the thing with Darvin Ham. Like, he'll come up with a game plan. He'll stick to it the whole game. He won't
Yeah.
adjust.
And his timeouts. Oh my god.
He doesn't call timeouts.
Exactly. He keeps his hands in his pockets the entire game.
Nah, he's a spectator. He's literally a paid spectator.
Bro,
He's
he
timed
literally
it.
just gets front row
Like,
seats. That's
third
it.
quarter was still a game. He runs a lineup with 3 guards. No
Why?
LeBron on the floor. And LeBron was pissed coming off
Yeah.
the floor, too. Because they were, like, maybe 2 points down at that point. It was really close. And then that lineup to end the quarter, it was like a Warriors 15-3 run or something.
awful.
And then Lakers were they couldn't get back in it after that. So
Turn the TV off.
yeah, no, it's so annoying. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
But Brandon Ingram coming back against the Lakers, just another
He's dropping 40.
added challenge for them to move up. Because they have to win both games if they're going to move up.
When is Vando supposed to come back?
He got reevaluated earlier this week. He's not cleared for contact yet.
What's wrong with him? Like, what's his injury?
I didn't even see
Is it
it.
is it the ankle thing?
I think so, yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
I feel like Brandon Ingram sprained his MCL last week and he's coming back in a week. Bro. What's going on with Vando,
Vanderbilt, let's see. He was, foot sprain in February.
And Gabe Vincent giving me Kendrick Nunn vibes from last year.
I know.
Like
At least he's back.
he is.
Kendrick
but
Nunn was never back.
He's like 0 for 5 every game.
No, he can't shoot right now.
No,
He's
his
been
defense
good
is
as a defender, though, because he
Yeah.
gets through the screens.
Yeah, I see that. He fights definitely.
Which
hedges
is
the
like no
screen.
one else on the team does that, so
No.
that's nice to see.
He'll get his feet underneath him.
If he could start shooting like just league average, like he's gonna be very impactful in the
For
playoffs.
sure.
But we got off track with the Lakers there. I just brought up Brandon Ingram playing, and we got on that whole rant. So I think that's a good time to shift into awards now.
Mm-hmm.
Or do we want to save that?
I think we can do the whole other episode because
Okay,
we
we'll save that.
got a good amount.
next
Because this is
episode-
how long is this?
It's pretty long. I mean, this is the second recording.
Yeah, but this is the second one, so this is what 15
This is 15.
plus, so we're like over an hour.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
No, this is-
Then
yeah, this
next
is good.
episode we'll do MVP and the
Sure.
other award breakdown. So that'll do it for the episode, and class dismissed.
Thank you to Ren for
Yeah.
coming
Yeah,
on.
thank you,
appreciate
Ren.
y'all
Coming
for
on,
Yeah,
Ren.
having me.
we'd love to have you on more in
Thank
the
you.
future.
I definitely will.
Yeah. And we're thinking of having rotating guests too, just to come in and chop it up about sports. That's what we love about sports, and
For sure.
we got such a good community here at CLU of people who are like-minded like us and fired up and smart and well-spoken. So
Definitely.
just more to come. Like last week with the video, we're on the up. We're on the
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
We're evolving. Keep on evolving.
Yes.
Yep. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Sports Report podcast. Be sure to check out our Instagram at the Sports Report Pod for more content and to never miss an episode. We'll see you next time.
Score!